Welcome back, everyone, to River and Sea, where I am at the east edge of Herne, where Manilda and I are about to set out on our journey in hopes of finding his friend, so that we know what we can do about the dead and to contact the Dunedain.
I have been thinking about Egfrith and about her lies.
We have already been through much, and more still lies ahead. I don't want there to be any deception between us. Secrets have a way of growing when they are left in the darkness. A friend of mine described them like mushrooms, but less delicious. Aye, he was a hobbit, although yours is not the only folk who appreciates cooked mushrooms. Oh, but I'm stalling. Of course I am. I was born in Tornhad, a village of the Dunedain in the angle of Mythetho, and I was one of that folk. I grew up playing in the woods and caves nearby, and when I came of age I swore the oath that they all did, to protect the line of the king, as had been done for centuries, and to do as the chieftain of the Dunedain and his trusted lieutenants commanded in all things. I failed in this. I was commanded to keep watch upon a certain house, for it was feared that trolls had come down from the mountains that might endanger the folk that lived there. I let my watchfulness lapse, and on an overcast night the trolls moved much further than anyone expected, and the family was slain. I had broken my oath, and they suffered the consequences of my failure. I have not considered myself a Dunedain ever since that day. Narndir and a few others promised to speak on my behalf to the chieftain, but my own shame burned like fire, and I fled. I would not return to these lands unless our warning was dire, and it is. So now, you know, judge me as you will, but the lesson of Egfrith has shown me that it is better for you to know. So, let us... What would it see? Well, of course, the dagger would be nice. He doesn't... And the long sword is better for a champion than it is for a... No cutlass, unfortunately. So, I guess we'll have to take the dagger.
We can stay on the Greenway for another day's travel.
Alright, we can do that. I will just switch out my weapon there. Ring of Agility. Oh. I had only one ring anyway. Haha! Well, that makes that a simple decision. Yes, we'll stay on the Greenway for another day's journey before we reach the ruins of which Narndir makes his camp. Our warning that Saruman has betrayed the good folk of Middle-earth must reach the chieftain of the Dunedain, and Narndir will know where he can be found. It will not be a pleasing reunion for me, but it must be done. The road leaves Herne from the eastern side, but circles the town to the north, and that is the way that we should go. All right. Let us then head off onto the Greenway. So you have to go east in order to go north. No, don't ask me the logic of that. I suppose it's some sort of bypass. Another stops and looks around, worry creasing his brow. Something wrong?
I feel eyes upon us.
Someone watches us, and I am put to mind of what Egfrith wrote, that she tracked Boromir for many days as she journeyed across the empty lands. No, I don't think that she returned to plague our steps. She was intent on reaching Saruman with what she learned of Boromir when she left us, but this might be another spy. See what you can find nearby, my friend. Perhaps some clue will identify the unseen watcher for us. Alright. I shall look for the spy here. Well, I see some feathers. Oh. Alright. The narrator gives a shout and races to the northwest. Alright, so. Flying spies. Well, I suppose. Uh-oh.
No. What cruel jest is this?
The narrator stares in horror at the body of a ranger lying in the grass. This is the man that we seek, Pine Sea. This is Narndir. Oh boy.
I don't understand it.
We are all still some days' travel from the camp where Narndir made his home, studying the ruins of Cardaland. He was always writing in that journal of his, documenting the details of artifacts and architecture that he found worthy of note. We used to gather pigments together, he and I, as children in the Angle, where even then he exhausted such quantities of ink that he was never running out. Narndir. Can I ask you to examine his body, Pine Sea? I can't bring myself to do it, but we must know the manner of his death. It is apparent that Narndir has been dead for a number of days. He suffered several sword strokes in the back, and from impressions in the dirt around his body, it appears that he was ridden down by someone on horseback as he fled.
I don't understand it. Narndir should not have been here at all.
What brought Narndir so far from his usual dwelling place? And who would intend to harm him at all? Furthermore, he wasn't a coward. To what foe would he turn his back? Of course. We know the answer already. The creeping shadows Aberthal saw that night in Herne, one of which sat astride a great black horse. I named the creature once, and now I do it again. Nazgul. Such a foe would inspire fear in even the stoutest of the Dunedain, and such a foe might even ride down a fleeing man to slay him with a sword stroke in the back. It would be as nothing to such a creature. Sarn Ford is to the west of here, and it seems that it might be the site from which Narndir fled. There have been a few rangers at the ford there, though never in great number. I think that we should divert our course to Sarn Ford and learn what may have befallen to the defenders. Very well. To Sarn Ford. This look like the shallows of a river, so I presume that this is Sarn Ford. And I do see people about. And apparently there are signs of a recent battle here. And the people here,
Hello there.
hello there, look like they could be rangers. Oh, hello.
If you are a friend to the Rangers of the North, you are welcome here.
Though that we are currently sorely pressed. But I do know your companion, and I am surprised that he has returned to show his face in these lands. Well, Halbrad here is not very happy to see Meneldir, that's for sure. I suppose I will take the middle one.
You say you have a warning for me, Meneldir. Deliver it then and be away.
We are still recovering from an attack upon the ford that left us scattered and in disarray, and I can't spare much time for those who break their oaths. But I might have some use for your companion here. I ask you to aid the defenders of Sarn Ford and gather the nearby ranger caches. They were set aside to provide sustenance and supplies in the event that they were needed. And in the aftermath of this attack, they surely are. Alright, so I need to go and look for ranger caches, but also to speak with a couple of others who are here. Alright. And of course to should I? I have to think on that one. Hello?
What troubles you?
An anger burns within me, stranger. Many of my friends died defending the fort against the evil force that rode us down some days past, and I want those dreadful riders to face the heat of my vengeance. But they are not men. Whatever they might appear to be, I know in my heart they're not men. Could my sword even pierce their black cloaks, or the physical frames that they must hide? I know not. So, my anger must remain unsatisfied, and it is that sorrow instead that must serve. Will you bring me stones from the walls that line the road here at Sarn Ford? I will have need of them. Why, is he going to throw stones at the Black Riders?
What troubles you?
Before Sarn Fort was attacked by the terrible Riders in Black, we received word that brigands were gathering in Gervarad, to the south of here, and we planned to dispatch a force of rangers to deal with them. Brigands! Such foes seem so trivial now. But no, I speak rashly. They are still a danger to the folk who live in these lands, though my people's concern seems more pressing and the aftermath of the attack some days ago. There is never just one thing, is there? Will you go to Gervarad and deal with these menacing brigands? If one danger is ignored, that will be the one that overmasters us, and so says the worried heart. Alright, so we need to deal with some brigands. And gather some stones. Okay, well, let's deal with these stone by stone by. Oh, that's right. I think the people I need to speak with are doing watch or something like that. Oh, we will deal with that as soon as we have all the stones that we need. We have that is number 6. That is number 7. So I think this is number 8. Yeah, number 8. Here are your stones.
Evil hides no longer.
Thank you for these stones, friend. There is talk of building a cairn in memory of those who died at Sarn Ford, and I think it will suit the fallen for the stones to be taken from the walls here. It must serve, at least until the riders in black again cross our path. Then I will have my vengeance. Or I will not, but at least I will be freed from my anger. Well now, let's see if I can find those other 2 rangers. It appears that one of these brigands is coming here to spy on what's going on at the Dunedain camp. Well, we can't have that. Now, let's see if I can find that ranger. Ah, here's one of the rangers now.
Something has stirred the wolves into a frenzy.
Ever since those terrible riders attacked Sarn Ford, we've heard the howls of wolves in the nearby Redamore. Something stirred them into a frenzy, and they continually test our defenses along the outskirts, as they have never have before. The pack returns. Alright, well, let's go and deal with them. Alright, and what has stirred these creatures? The pack leader! We must end this here. Right. Alright. We will pack them away. Alright, there you go. And you? You and Nether have emerged victorious. I hope that this is the end of it, but the mystery remains. What has caused this rage? Well, it probably has something to do with the Black Riders. Ah, Here is the other ranger. This is Galasebdir.
Ever since the attack, we have endured an onslaught of the dead.
They rise and press the attack, and though we defeat them, always they return. They're coming back. Alright. All that. We must deal with them. Okay, here we go. I don't think that's the last of them. Of course, it never is the last of them. To arms! Oh, 2 arms! Alright, well then we will deal with the army. Anything else? What draws such nightmares hither? Well, that I can't answer. Hold on. Now that I think of it, I saw something in Herna. That's the last of them for now. But they have come back before. Yes. What draws them here? A token? Like what we found in Herna? Well, let's see if I can find those caches. Well, I must say that wasn't hidden very well. Amazing that there was still something inside of it with all these brigands around. Well now, anything else? Oh ho! Speaking of brigands, I guess he saw me pick out something from that cache and decided it would be his. But it wasn't. Well, I suppose that's a little bit are hidden. Now, let's see if I can find the third one. I guess that'll be around those rocks up there. I think this one will be a little bit easier to spot than the previous one. Fortunate for me. And we're really fortunate that someone hasn't taken it yet. Well, back to Sarn Ford. We were attacked by the dead. Sort of similar to what happened in Herna.
I have given Halbarad our warning. He does not want to believe it, but he must.
He says that he has seen creatures bearing the White Hand in recent days. He thought that they were led by one of their own kind, but our tidings have made him doubt. I've been thinking about something else too. Yes, I do recall that token in Herna. What if the writers did hide a similar one as here as well? Well, what do you think we should do? I will search for disturbed earth and see if there's anything in here. How about this one? And nothing in there. Anything else around here? How about this one? This looks a bit more disturbed than the rock there. Your fingers close on something in the dirt. A skull-shaped token made of bone. He did say something about a skull-shaped entity. Is this what you meant?
I thought so.
These creatures have a knack for stirring nearby creatures into madness, and for leaving disorder in their wakes. Perhaps our removal of this token will slow the onslaught of the dead upon the defenders here. Well, here are the caches.
Thank you for bringing back these supplies. We will have need of them.
If it is true that Saruman and the other wizards have turned against us... No, it's not that I distrust your word, but Manildr broke his oath to the Dunedain, and that is a matter of great shame for us. Not just for him, but to all of us. It is not the failing of an entire village when one of its own is found to be wanting. But such is our need that I cannot turn even Manildr away, as was my first instinct. The rangers are scattered and in disarray, and I need everyone. Aye, and even every hobbit. Alright, so let's see the well-preserved leather. Oh, yes, that is quite an improvement.
I will tell you what happened.
I'll tell you what happened in the attack, Pine Sea, and then I have a task for you and Menelder to accomplish. Evils walk this land, and I can deny no one who's willing to help us to fight them. Alright, what befell the Rangers?
An unnatural fog rolled in, changing the contours of the land, and we were seized by a feeling of dread unlike anything we had felt before.
My own heart was seized by a terrible foreboding, but I had the duty to command and would not abandon it. I want you to know this, Pine Sea, for I tell you the events that followed. These men and women that stood with us on that night, there was not a single drop of cowardice amongst us, but we had no idea what we would face on that night.
The dead rise! The dead!
The barrows are emptied!
Dunedain! Do not give in to fear!
Let's go through this. Actually, let's use that thing. Alright, continue on and battle. Oh yes. The joy of the joy of fighting dread. The dread and the dead.
Forward, Dunedain!
Forward. We fall back so we can go forward.
What is that?
There's another!
You're not welcome here! Leave this land!
Uh-oh.
None can stand before us.
Go back, vile creatures, and never return!
Yikes!
Stand, Dunedain! Protect the Shire!
The Black Riders again.
The number of the terrible wraiths was 9.
Not all of those who defended Sarn Ford knew what that meant as I did. We defied those of the Black Riders as long as we could, but that is not an evil against which any man or woman can expect to stand up for long. I don't just any who ran, or any who hid themselves. Those of the riders who did not pass into the Shire pursued the Dunedain they found into the wild. There are still rangers in the Shire, and I know that they will do what they must to save the hobbits from those Black Riders, but more of my kin were scattered across Cardolan by those of the Black Riders that did not cross the Brandywine, and we will need their strength in the days ahead if we're still to live. That is what I need from you and from Menelder. I need you to track down survivors of the attack and learn how they faced in the days since the people were scattered like leaves in the wind. This will not cure Menelder's shame or restore his broken oath, but it may reveal the nature of his heart. If he bears any love for his former kin, let him show it now by aiding them now. You are free to do as you will, but know that it will be a great help to the Dunedain if you aid us in this, and I will not forget it. Let's grab that cloak. Whee!
Many of my kin were scattered across the South Downs in the wake of the attack.
And I fear for at least 4 of the Black Riders may harry the Rangers alongst the hills. Save the Dunedain you can. Help them recover from their injuries, and restore what safety you can to the South Downs. If you see the raids, hide if you can, but run if you must. There is power of an evil about them that I have never seen before. What can we do about these raids? What can we do to warn them? And what about those brigands? We have to find that out in the next episode of River and Sea.